These apply.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. Jack Byrne is the new Wes. Skillful, picks a pass, and doesn't get picked for Ireland. Gamble responsibly. Gamblingcare.ie.
You're welcome back. It's 7:30 on a Thursday. John Giles is with us. Good evening, John.
Evening, Nathan.
Not the week that Stephen Kenny wanted. 11 games without a win and a real low point last Saturday night. Beaten at home by Luxembourg. What have you made of it?
Well, I said at the start, Nathan, that you've got to give Stephen 8 matches. And we've got 11 now. And I don't think there's... I think if Stephen was to pick a team tomorrow, I think he'd find it difficult to know what was his best team. And so would I, by the way.
Is that down to Stephen Kenny, or is that down to the quality of the players?
It's mainly down to the quality of the players, Nathan. I think the players that Stephen has now in the squad are probably, I'd say, the least gifted, I'm putting that in a nice way, than we've seen for a long, long time in a squad of players.
Right.
I think he's very unlucky in that particular way. I think it's when you look back over the years, the squad of players we've had at different times, I think this is the weakest that I can remember.
Stephen Kenny, when he was watching on from the sides over recent years, would have said he got very frustrated when Irish managers spoke about not having the players.
Yeah.
When you look at that squad now, though, you think he actually doesn't have the players.
Well, I'm sure, Nathan. I mean, we've seen, 11 matches? We've seen 3 matches in the last few days. And I just don't see the players that we've had in previous times. I put down a list of players going back to my time, Nathan, if you're interested in hearing them.
In terms of the quality of the players that have been there through the years?
Yes. And I think this is the least gifted by a long way, Nathan, for Stephen. And I think he's unlucky in that respect. Really unlucky. So
there's probably 2 conversations then. There's one is whether or not he's getting the best out of the players that he does have available, even with the lack of talent that's there. And there's the other greater question for Irish football. And if you're going to go through some of those names, from the quality and there's nobody better place to talk about this, from starting out as a player in the late 50s, early 60s, all the way through to now in your role, as to how it's gone, the ups and the downs. Talk us through it then as to where you feel Irish football was and where we've come to.
Well, I'm going back a long time. I'm going back to my first match, which is 1959, right? And we had players like Noel Dwyer in goal. And these, I'll try as quick as I can, but the teams they played for, okay? Noel Dwyer, West Ham; Joe Carroll, Manchester United; Noel Cantwell, West Ham United; Charlie Hurley, Sunderland; Pat Edward, Villa; Mick McGrath, Blackburn; Fionn Fagan, City; Dermot Curtis, Ipswich; George Cummins, Luton when they were in the first division; and Joe Haverty at Arsenal. That's in my time.
Yeah.
And now it's not always who they play for, but it's no coincidence that they were playing like for top teams, and that's going back to some of the bad old days when I started. In relation to now, I mean, if you look at some of the players that are playing now in the first team, James Coleman's okay, Clark, O'Shea, Stevens, Egan, Hendrick. If you look at all those players, they're either in the bottom 3 or very close to the bottom 3. There's only about 3 players that are actually playing at what you would class really, really first-class football. You know, Seamus Coleman and one or 2 others who are playing at teams that are challenging. And with what we've got in the squad, most of them, there's more lads near the bottom of the league than the top of the league. And that it gives you some sort of an answer to it, I think.
How upsetting do you find that from the 60 years when you look back that you've been involved around the Irish senior team, that we found ourselves in this situation with such a lack of quality, with nobody playing European football again this season, nobody in the teams in the top 4 in the Premier League that we are, and the players you're talking about are the ones playing in the Premier League. An awful lot of them are playing even in the Championship, a level below that.
Oh yes. I'm just sort of mentioning some.
How depressing do you find it that that's where Irish football has come to now?
Well, it's very difficult, and we're talking about Stephen's situation. I think he's having the most difficult job that any manager of the Irish team has had for a long time, because you're only as good as the players you have. And in Stephen's case, I think coming into it, I think he had ideas that they were going to play in an attractive way, and that's the way he wanted to do it and play out from the back, which is okay. But as a manager or a coach, Nathan, you're only as good as the players that you have at your disposal. And I'm sorry to say for Stephen and for his sake, I don't think he has the players to play in a way that he thinks they should be playing.
So that is going to be the big debate now, and we've spoken about this for years. I know at times, say under Martin O'Neill, you would have felt that the midfield players in particular could have done more with the ball. When you look at this group and the midfielders that Stephen Kenny is available, do you think they can actually do more with the ball?
I think we can do a bit more than we're doing. I think I might have said on the programme last week, I don't think we've got any really outstanding midfield players. And what I suggested last week, that you play McLean on the left and Horgan on the right, or maybe O'Dowdy. So, and two midfield players, in other words, keep them wide, right? And I refer to Notts Forest, when they won the European Cup and that, John McGovern and a lad called Boyer in midfield. Two of them were very, very ordinary players. But they had Robertson, who was a world-class player, and Martin O'Neill, who was a very good player on the right. So all they were asked to do was get it and give it to those two and let them take it forward first, with the fullbacks coming on the overlap. Because it's no good looking for players to play in the middle of the field in a certain way if you haven't got the players. And I don't think we have the players to do what's needed to be done to play in the way that Stephen wants us to play in the middle of the field.
Unfortunately, we're very tight in time, John, so I do actually need to take a break as well in between this. So I might take a break and then we might talk about what he can do then and what he should have done maybe over the last few days with the players that are available.
Okay.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. Everything would be better if Wes was back in the team. Gamble responsibly. Gamblingcare.ie.
Down to business.
This week on Down to Business, we look at the traditionally male world of engineering and see how it's changing when we talk to 3 leading female engineers. I talked to the extreme athlete who can help you grow vegetables in your kitchen with his tower garden. Economist Moore McDougall on where we're going wrong in lockdown, plus the return of soft skills to the boardroom.
Down to Business.
Brought to you by Bank of Ireland.
With me, Bobby Kerr, this Saturday morning from 10.
On News Talk.
Nice arms. Here, let me show you how you lift it. Well, since you're new.
On grand, thanks.
Sure, she's only showing him the ropes.
Okay, bend the knees. Yeah, right down.
Can you stop touching me?
He can look after himself.
Relax, will you? I'm only showing you how it's done.
Most men would be delighted with the attention.
Will you stop?
Let's stop excusing sexual harassment and sexual violence. Enough is enough. Learn more at gov.ie/no excuses, or in an emergency, call 999.
You know what? Whoever said that nothing in life is free is wrong. My mate, One Leg Larry, got a free ticket to a crocodile enclosure last year. Although, up until that point, we just call him Larry. It's probably a bad example, but what about your PRSI entitlement at Specsavers? That gives you a free eye test and free glasses from their €69 range. All you have to do is book an appointment. That's something to smile about.
Book an appointment or find out more at specsavers.ie.
Easter egg hunts don't really work over webcam. But when it comes to gifts, you can still get the people in your life exactly what they want. The new Dunnes Stores e-gift card means you can show you care from anywhere. With it, your loved ones can shop in-store or on our website and buy anything they like. Choose the amount you'd like to send, and even choose the moment they'll receive it. The Dunnes Stores e-gift card. Give the gift of anything they want in seconds. Visit dunnesstores.com today and show you care from anywhere. Terms, conditions, exclusions and minimum spend applies.
Imagine you're on a massive Zoom call with over 800,000 people and you're about to tell them all about your business. That's what it's like advertising on News Talk every week. If you'd like to talk to them, talk to us. Email advertising@newstalk.com.
Get super spring deals on technology at Harvey Norman. Save €160 on the ultralight Samsung Galaxy Book S with Intel Core i5 processor. Now, only €1039. Or save €100 on the DJI Mavic 2 Pro drone. Now, 1399. And at Harvey Norman, we're matching all competitors' prices, even their sale prices. For more Super Spring deals, shop online at harveynorman.ie or safely in our spacious stores, open until 6 p.m. daily for home appliances and essential technology.
Dairy, beef, or tillage. That's your business. Ireland's fastest mobile network is ours. Right now, pick up a new iPhone 12 mini for an incredible €49 when you switch your business account to 3. It's the best offer on the market and a business deal you won't find anywhere else. Switch today. Visit 3.ie/business. 3. Make it count. Offer available on the €45 per month plan over 24 months. Ireland's fastest mobile network based on the Ookla analysis of speed test intelligence data Q3 to Q4 2020.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. Let's be honest, if you were Declan Rice or Jack Grealish, you'd choose England too. Gamble responsibly. Gamblingcare.ie.
You're welcome back. John Giles is with us. We're reflecting on the week that was for the Republic of Ireland. John, you've just been saying then about the lack of quality in this current Irish squad. And we could talk about how Luxembourg have improved over the last few years. But Stephen Kenny himself acknowledged that it will never be acceptable for the Republic of Ireland to lose at home against Luxembourg. What could he have done differently on Saturday night? Could he have done anything different in terms of team selection and how he set them up?
I don't think so, Nathan, to be honest. You know, because he's changing the team. I mean, what I'd be a little bit worried about was that, and have been a lot of injuries as well in a lot of matches, to have the team out there as near to the team as you think is your best. And we haven't seen that because there's been a lot of change in a lot of matches. You know, because don't forget, when Stevens first started off, he wanted to play in an attractive way, and he left Coleman out of the team, for example, and had Doherty in there. Well, you know, Doherty is a wing player. Coleman is a fullback. You know, he's a wing back. Coleman is a fullback. So I think what you have to try and do as quickly as possible is play the teams and get to know your best players. This is definitely my best team. I don't think Stephen knows that yet, to be honest, because he's made so many changes. I mean, we played 11 matches, and I think when you set off as a coach, you get a group of players, Nathan, and what you have to do, regardless of how you want them to play, and I think Stephen wanted the team to play in an attractive way, which is fair enough, but you have to play in an effective way, and sometimes that is not so attractive, you know.
Yeah.
You have to be, you know, worldly about it and say, look, this is my best team. Like, in other words, this is the group I have. How best can I get them to win matches?
So does he need to swallow his pride a little bit? Because he's obviously spoken very passionately through the years about what he believes Irish football can be in terms of the style of football it plays. Now that he's in the job and maybe the players aren't there to do that, and listen, I'd say he would say he believes they can do that in terms of getting the ball down and passing it around and being effective, but if you feel they can't, do you think he actually has to swallow his pride and play a different style of football?
Yeah, I think, well, I don't know question swallowing his pride. I don't think he's a prideful lad in that way. I think he's a good lad, Stephen, and I do wish him well. But I think when you take over a group of players, you cannot say we're going to play in a certain way because you don't know what they can do. In the manager's head, I think what you've got to get in your head is, first of all, I have to see what I've got. That will dictate how we're going to play. So I think Stephen came into it with an idea, we're going to play in an attractive way, and that's the way it's going to be. But I think now, I think you're right. I hope anyway, that having seen the teams and the players that he's got, that, you know, it have to be less, you know, not to put the emphasis on being attractive as being effective. You have to win matches. You have to win matches, and everybody has their own way of doing it. But ultimately, you have to win matches. I mean, when Big Jack was in charge of it at certain stages, it wasn't attractive, but it was effective. And that's all that matters, you know. Whether you know, an attraction is as different people have different ideas of attractive football. You know, I mean, I don't have an idea about track. I love to see great players playing, and they're brilliant to do what they do, and they're effective, and they're winning, and they're scoring. Now, lads that can do a few... Now, I'm not saying Stephen thinks this way. Lads that can do a few tricks and easy on the eye. You know, easy on the eye is when you're winning matches, and we're not doing that at the moment. So, now I think Stephen has a good break, 4 or 5 months, that he can have a look at the whole business, look over the matches that he's seen the lads play in, and really, really have a good look and say, by then, this is my best team. This is my most effective team.
He does have those 5 months before the game against Portugal. Does have a couple of friendlies in between where he can experiment. We saw against Qatar, he brought back a lot of those older players, the likes of McLean, Jeff Hendrick, Shane Duffy came back into the side. It's clear from Stephen Kenny he has great faith in the young players who are coming through and feels he wants to give them time in big matches. Does he need to rethink that? A lot of these players aren't playing a lot of club level. Do you need to go back and actually use the likes of Shane Duffy and James McLean a little bit more?
Well, yeah, definitely. I think you have to use what's there to be used, not the future. Like in club football, you've got more matches. You've got 5 players in. You're with them every day, and there's lots and loads of matches. You can put things right. You don't have that with the international team. It's only every so often that you have to come as quickly as you can to the best players you have available at that particular time. That's what you have to do. And like Stephen has had 11 matches now, and I don't know if he would know his best team for next week. I was saying last week I would have McLean and O'Dowd in the team, or Horgan on the wings. Well, Horgan played the other night, and so did McLean. McLean spent more time at the left back position, and Horgan actually played down the middle, or very near the middle. So that'll be my team gone in that way. So I think it's a little bit disappointing that Stephen doesn't know at the moment as clearly as he could know after 11 matches. And again, I'd go back. He doesn't have an awful lot of talent, so you can only make the
John. So we've gone through, say, the issues that were there in the autumn with COVID and players missing. Do you put him not knowing his best 11 down to Stephen Kenny and been just not having made those decisions yet, or is it just that players aren't playing at club level? How can he, when there's nobody really coming into any camp with their hand up saying, I'm in sensational form for my club, you have to pick me?
No. Well, I don't think you can ever do that anyway, because the manager goes around and sees the players, Nathan. It's very, very difficult. First of all, if you don't have the players of the standard that is required, it's very, very difficult to make the most of the players that you've actually got. So that's why I think he's playing so many players, because they're much of a muchness, Nathan. We've got very few outstanding players to do it in the way that you would want it, the way he wanted to do it. I think what he'll have to say is, look, I've got to forget about this attractive side of the game and get around to what is going to win me matches. Because if he doesn't, and it's all about results, Nathan, then he won't last in the job. So it's a question of being rational about it, not what I dream I can do or I want to do. It's what can I do, and that's what Stephen's got to work at now.
Would you have any advice from having been in the job yourself and also been on the other side, being the person who's had to analyse the matches as part of the panel for so many years, as to how you deal with the criticism that comes with the role? Because he'll have felt the full brunt of it over the past week, the interest levels that are there. Every former player has something to say about the team, and how difficult it can be to block that out. What would you say to him if you were talking to him about how you deal with the pressure of the job?
Well, it's a very difficult job, Nathan, as you know. You're not going to please everybody all the time. But there's no doubt that whatever ideas you have and ideals about football, you have to be effective. You have to be winning matches. Nathan, that's what the crowd go to see. That's what gets you there. If you're losing matches and you feel that we're playing in an attractive way, you're not going to last long, Nathan. It just doesn't happen. So I think Stephen has to look at it in a way. I've got to be practical on this. It might go against some of his ideals and ideas of what he wants to do on the football, but that will have to be the case. I think that's what he's got to do. He's got to get a winning formula, and if he finds that it's not attractive, tough. You have to win. You have to get results.
Having watched the 3 games, were there any players who stood out who can come away with their head held high from the last week? Well,
not particularly. There's a lot of changes in the games, as you know, Nathan. I think Shane Long did himself a lot of good, because I think he's probably the best we have in that particular position, along with young Connolly. When Connolly gets fit again, I'd say Long and Connolly would be our best bets up front, and get back to Coleman, Duffy if he gets back to form, Egan and Stevens. I think they're good. I think just that's solid in the back five, Nathan.
What about the young midfielders who got opportunities? Malumbi started the game against Serbia and Qatar. Jason Knight got the start against Luxembourg.
They did okay, but we need to do better in the middle of the field. I think Brady's our best bet. And again, I wouldn't concentrate at the moment in the middle of the field. I'd have McLean wide. I'd have O'Dowd or Horgan wide on the other side, Nathan. I'd have definitely Brady in the middle of the field. And I'd like to see more of Malumbi, maybe Arthur coming back into the team. We don't. Those lads are not ready to do the creative work that they have to do in that particular team at the moment. If they get better or get old and get better, so be it. But Stephen doesn't have that much time to wait for that to happen to these players.
If you look back over the last few years, and Mick McCarthy and Martin O'Neill and the experience that they have, do you just look at this group at the moment and think, for whatever manager is in charge, I wouldn't call it an impossible task, but it's probably the hardest job any Irish manager's had over the last 60 years?
Definitely. I think it's the hardest. I'll just go through one lot. When I was manager, right, I had Liam Brady, David O'Leary, Frank Stapleton, Mick Martin, Jerry Daly, Steve Highway, Mark Lawrenson, Tony Dunn, Don Gibbons, Terry Conroy, Paddy Mulligan, and maybe one or two as I've left out there at my disposal. Now, if you look at those players, I'd have to say that that's a much better group of players that I've mentioned there.
We'd have to question the manager, John.
Yeah. Well, he was always useless anyway. But if you go back to Jack's time, which was the best group of players we ever had, I'll just run through them quickly. Roy Keane, Andy Townsend, Paul McGrath, Ronnie Whelan, Ray Houghton, Steve Staunton, David O'Leary, John Aldridge, Kevin Morton, Mark Lawrenson. We've nobody.
I was going to say, what we give for one of them right now.
Exactly. So I feel sorry for Stephen to be in the position he's in, but I think again it's I'd forget about the attractiveness anyway and go for the reality.
Yeah. John, we're out of time, unfortunately. We did want to talk about the Jack Charlton documentary, which I know you watched. We might talk about that next Thursday, if that's all right with you.
No problem.
Great stuff as always, John.
Thanks, Nathan.
We'll talk to you soon. John Giles there. If you missed any of that, good stuff from John on the week that was for the Republic of Ireland. You can get that on the OTB Sports app and subscribe to all our football podcasts. Up next, we're talking about Dessie Farrell getting suspended for 12 weeks by his own county board. The Dublin players breaching COVID rules at training yesterday. We're going to talk to Cullum Keys and to John Maughan.
The all-new Opel Crossland is built to be lived in.